Hi, this is Vanessa Love, and this is my channel about the mental health field and related topics. So, this is a funny one, but it's also a terrible one. I want to read you the absolute terror of this 1991 movie called What About Bob? If you do not know about What About Bob, oh my God. So you know how there's that like that so this is from Wikipedia. So you know how there's that person who's in love with her like psychiatrist, and like he has normal ass boundaries and stuff, and it's like really nothing, but like it just she's making it out to be like he's just so into her. I feel so bad for him. I just really he is trying to be the most professional that he can be. So there was this 1991 comedy, and I'm like, listen, as a therapist now, it is not funny. It's not funny. Like you hear this and like it's not funny, but like it's made out to be a comedy. So that's why we're talking about it. And I think that when you hear what it is, you understand. Okay. So this is a Frank Oz movie. Directed by Frank Oz. Like he's kind of famous, okay? Um it has Bill Murray in it and Richard Dreyfuss. Okay, so Richard Dreyfuss plays Dr. Marvin, who is a psychologist. Bill Murray plays Bob. Okay. Oh my God. I'm going to read this to you and I'm going to react to it because, like, there's just, there's a lot. I'm not even going to edit, like, anything out of this description so you get the full picture. So, just by the way, this is a warning that it's a spoiler alert. If you ever thought that you might watch this 1991, maybe go watch it now because I'm going to give you the full plot. Everything that happens in this movie. Okay. In New York. In New York City, a neurotic and multiphobic Bob Wiley spends his life in a near constant state of distress. Exasperated by Bob's high maintenance needs, his psychiatrist, it says therapist, but psychiatrist, closes his practice and refers Bob to the therapist, okay, to the egotistical and controlling Dr. Leo Marvin, who believes his new therapy book, Baby Steps, will make him famous. Leo gifts Bob a copy of Baby Steps and makes an appointment to see him the following month. Uh, in a month following Dr. Marvin's family vacation. Okay. Unable to cope without regular reassurance, Bob repeatedly calls Dr. Marvin's telephone exchange in failed exchange. So like he calls like the person who's like the message center, which is what we do sometimes, in failed attempts to deduce where he is staying. So he's trying to figure this out. Bob then visits the exchange while posing as a detective, investigating Bob's suicide, and pretending, right? And learns that Dr. Marvin is at a lake in New Hampshire. Oh no. This is my nightmare. Okay, so remember, this is 1991. Now, HIPAA does not exist at this point, and I just want to consistently remind you that HIPAA does not exist at this point. Okay? Still a horror film dressed as a comedy. Okay. Bob travels to New Hampshire by bus, irritating all the other passengers with his habits. Oh my God. He encounters Leo, who agrees to call Bob at the local coffee shop, and then he returns home. Out of spite, the shop owners, the Gutmans, who Dr. Marvin outbids for their Dream Lake house home, takes Bob directly to Dr. Marvin. God, when you make enemies, Jesus. All right, Bob is introduced to Dr. Marvin's wife, Frey, their teenage daughter, Anna, and their son, Siggy. Siggy is a reference to Sigmund Freud, just by the way, who are charmed by by Bob's eccentric personality, much to the uptight Dr. Marvin's chagrin. Like Dr. Marvin is having a regular as like moment here. Okay, he's having a regular ass moment here. Um, Eager to get rid of Bob. Like, okay, there's some twists and turns of this that I don't agree with, but there's things where I'm like, under the right circumstances, kind of understand it. Eager to get rid of Bob, Dr. Marvin tells him to return to the city and take a vacation from his problems. I don't know how you can tell anyone with OCD to do that, but okay, we'll pretend. Having never been on vacation, Bob takes his advice literally, remaining in New Hampshire at this lake. Bob unintentionally bonds with Dr. Marvin's family. He faces his fear of sailing after Anna ties him to a boat's mast, inadvertently gives Siggy the confidence to dive into the lake, which Dr. Marvin has failed to instill for years, and overcomes his germophobia. After Dr. Marvin pushes Bob into the lake, Faye, they just called her, no, it wasn't Faye, it was Faye. Okay. Faye forces him to apologize and invite Bob to dinner. Why is everyone okay with this? Oh, you gotta invite your patient to dinner. Ew. Oh. Okay. Oblivious to Dr. Marvin's hostility, Bob accepts as he believes the events are a part of Dr. Marvin's radical therapy techniques. Oh my God. This is like one of many, which I'm like, okay. Okay. Oh my God. Wait, I'm trying to get this. Okay. All right. Now where am I? Okay. Okay. A thunderstorm forces Bob to spend the night. God. There were no other places. There were no other places. There were no. Apparently, there's no. Thank you, please. No, thank you. No, thank you. But Dr. Marvin demands that he leaves following the following morning before Good Morning America arrives to interview Dr. Marvin about Baby Steps, the book, right? The TV crew arrives early, and despite Dr. Martin's reluctance, Bob is in the interview as an example of his book's success. Oh my God. Oh my God. Why are we doing this? Oh, this is so uncomfortable. Do you understand why this is like such a, oh my God. I never. Jesus. Dr. Marvin humiliates himself during the interview by giving stilted and nervous responses while Bob speaks highly of like the whole Marvin family and the book, unwittingly stealing the spotlight. You know what? I mean, at that point, you might as well. Infuriated, Dr. Marvin attempts to have Bob institutionalized, but he quickly befriends the hospital staff who are convinced he is sane. Oh my God. Why? Dr. Marvin then abandons Bob in a remote location. Okay, like this is where like it gets to a point where I'm like, please don't do this. Please don't do this. But Bob hitches a ride back to the lake house. Hold on. What does it say? Oh gosh darn it. He hitches a ride. God, sorry. There's so much with this. He hitches a ride back to the lake house while various mishaps delay Dr. Marvin. A disheveled Dr. Marvin returns after nightfall, but is happily surprised by a crowd awaiting him for his birthday, including his sister Lily. When Bob appears, he puts his arm around Lily, and Dr. Marvin snaps. Like, you know what? Like, I understand. Oh my God. Dr. Marvin is sedated, and his family reluctantly asks Bob to leave due to Dr. Marvin's seemingly irrational anger towards him. Like, really? Seemingly? Really? Everyone's in on this fucking thing, and you want to tell me that he's acting irrationally? Oh my God. Okay. This is where this gets to a point where I'm like, This is a comedy. This is a comedy. This is a comedy. Oh my God. A manic Dr. Marvin sneaks out and steals a large amount of explosives from the general store. Okay, like you know what? Yes, he's pushed to his limit, but too far, too far, too far. He abducts Bob, straps him to the explosive, and abandons him in the wood during dubbing the experience death therapy. Believing the explosives are a metaphor for his problems, Bob's really like going the hardest here as like, I believe in you. I mean, I appreciate it, but I'm also like, Bob, dude, do you have no like way to like really preserve yourself? Just preserve yourself. Why? So Bob frees himself from his restraints and remaining fears. He's so free. He reunites with the Marvins and praises Dr. Marvin for curing him. As I said, Bob's hardcore. He's like Dr. Marvin's biggest fan. And, I want to accept it, but I kind of don't. Dr. Marvin worriedly inquires about the whereabouts of the explosives, which Bob says he stored under the lake house. The house explodes, and the observing Gutmans are delighted. Shocked, Dr. Marvin is rendered catatonic and institutionalized. Sometime later, Bob marries Lily, and if you like didn't catch that, Bob marries Dr. Marvin's sister. No, thank you. Please don't. Oh my God. Upon the pronouncement of husband and wife, Dr. Marvin snaps out of his catatonic state and screams no. But the sentiment is lost because his family is so excited at his recovery. A closing text revealed that Bob went back to school to be a psychologist. Then wrote a best-selling book titled Death Therapy, for which Dr. Marvin is suing him for the rights. Like, like I think this is one of those uncomfortable funny, like it's so out of bounds, like it's like Meet the Fockers where it was supposed to be like, funny. Isn't that funny? It's not. It's my biggest nightmare. If I ever was gonna have a nightmare as like a therapist, it'd be that. It'd be that. Huh. Huh. I cannot. I don't know. Also, I wouldn't try to kill anyone. I'd nicely be like, this is a private event. There's HIPAA laws. Could you please leave? Like even if that person was irritating the crap out of me, like, listen, I have compassion, deep compassion for all my clients, but like, I can't, like the whole scene, like, because I remember this vividly. I watched this within like the last like 10 years. I vividly remember him getting the like lake house like address and everything, and it just freaked me out, and I was like, I don't know if I can watch the rest of this movie because I don't know if I can watch the rest of this movie. And like just the whole family enjoying time with Bob is like just like too much for me. Now remember, this is 1991. 1996 is when HIPAA happened. So like this seems like this would be a problem, but there were no laws protecting either party. Like I know that HIPAA can be so frustrating, but do you understand how much it helps me sometimes to be like, I don't have to acknowledge this person. I don't want to get into whatever this person might get, like we might get into by standing here. Like I don't want to know, like, and it's not considered a shitty thing, like it has, like sometimes it just saves me, like, and I know that it's really essentially to protect the client, but like it saves me too. And like it's situations like this, like someone comes to my door and is like, listen, I looked up your address online, I thought this was your work address, it's not. Like I would be like, hey, like, you have to go. I apologize. I will call you later. Like, we can do something. We can figure something out. Like, huh, you know, because like I just can't imagine. I can't imagine any of it. Like that's one of those that's so uncomfortable. That's so uncomfortable. And then just like the gaslighting of the family, like, because they're just like, oh, we're just having a great time. Oh, look, he's, we're all fine. No, no, stop. No, don't, no, no, no. Like, oh my gosh. Like, I'm so fortunate that this has not been a thing in my life because, as I've said before, I think that me saying, like, if I would have stayed in New London, stuff like this could have easily unfortunately happened, like, or ex-clients would like date friends or something. Like, it was just getting to be that close, and it's very tough because like I've been taught to like keep away, but I'm also trying to be active in my community in a way that feels comfortable to me. So like it's a very difficult line, but like it is one that like I just like I I have problem, like, like I need to obviously have the boundaries that like and reinforce them with my family, like if that were a situation that ever happened. Actually there was something that was similar that had happened. Someone who was a previous client worked at this place that my now husband like used to go to like have fun with his friends, and that was very awkward. And I tried so hard to just not be involved in this place, like after it was very clear that this person like just had a terrible opinion of me and was very open about that to everyone except me. um like I just didn't want any, like, I remember talking specifically to another colleague about this, and they were like, you don't have to go in there. Like, it's okay, like, to avoid that place. And even when I tried to avoid that place, that ex client was standing outside one day, and as I drove by, and I was just like, I can't fucking avoid this freaking, can I? Like, ugh, and like, it sucked, and they're like, I can't say anything as this person is like, like spreading, I don't even know, like just bad sentiment about me while I'm trying to be like, I still live in this community. You do too, like it's such a, like, it was a very difficult line to go through because like there were other things where it's like, oh yeah, there's this event. Oh, it's run by this person. And like, I looked at previous events, it was run by a different ex like client. And I'm just like, that did happen. That did happen. And this is why, like, I had to run the line of like, well, I will support my clients. I'm trying not to go to every event that they're going to, even though some of them are fun. But, like one night, there's like, there was one place to do open mic nights, and my clients would go there, and so I'd run into people because, this was out in town, and like I'm hanging out with my friends, and they have no idea, and like, or I'm by myself, and like, it's just a very weird situation. And that the client who I ran into that time was like, it kind of changed my opinion about who you were because you were willing to stay at this place where I was also. And like, that's another one of those, like, oh, okay, that's why I should have reinforced that boundary. Like, like, it's up to me, to make choices. And so, like, I would have to make choices based on a whole lot of information, in my brain. Again, because I have the right from the American Counseling Association. So, like, the American Counseling Association is very much like, hey, you as the clinician, you need to make the choices that are going to be best for the situation, and especially on behalf of your client. Had I known that this person was going to turn that around and like kind of it changed the dynamic on their end, I would have left. Like, but I wasn't thinking that. I was thinking, oh, I'm out. I've ran into a couple of people who I know, and like this other person and this other situation that I probably should be aware of, because of a lot of different things. Um, and my friend pouting, it was kind of funny. uh, sorry. he I'm glad we're not friends anymore, but it was one of those things where, like, his 3-day relationship was the best and the most wonderful, and no one could ever understand the depth of their love, of course. And so he was pouting. And it, again, not a client, very funny. If it was a client, it'd be very sad. Like, I have that distinction. But like, it's just so like, and then you get all the updates from other people, and that's just kind of how it goes, and yeah, like, boundaries and ethics are really, really complicated, and but Jesus, I mean, it's a comedy because it was pushing the boundaries, but like, can you imagine? Like, I can't. And then, like, stories come out from, like, the woodworks of like what happened with, like, because some therapists like really read in depth about like the ethical issues that other therapists go through, and like they'll just say something and I'll be like, okay, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine. Like things like there was this one woman who was like, I'm a therapist, like I worry about losing my license, but then I remember that there was this person who convinced her clients, right? So this is someone completely different. Like I'm hearing it like secondhand from someone who I'm like watching on Instagram. So clinician saying I worry about my license, and then telling a story about another clinician. So clinician number two convinced their client that they would move in together and asked for like $18,000 or something like that, and even though that was found to be obviously so many breaches, they still have their license. And I'm over here like debating as to whether or not me being out one day was actually like detrimental to like my client, like. And it could be, that's the other thing, it could have been like that person could have like had something, like switch off in their brain and thinks that like something completely different, like, again, I had to make the clinical choice. And all of those choices are very hard choices, like it's very, very difficult sometimes, and especially when you think that you're not making the right ones, like shit, like, is that like, should I have like, now I just don't have to deal with that. Like, it is so nice. I like, there's only a couple of things that I'll be like, I'm gonna be there, please don't talk to me, there was some parade that was happening. I was like, I will be there, please don't talk to me, and then I ended up not going because I had a migraine. But like, it's like these little things where I'm like, I will be there. We're not. No, please don't. Please don't. I don't. I have friends. I have friends in the city. I have friends that would go to that parade. I can't. I can't. Boundaries. But also being very open. Hey, this might be something of interest to you, but by the way, this is this thing that's happening. You know. So yeah. Um, Thanks. Anyway, I thought that I would share that with you and kind of give you a laugh, maybe. Therapist freaks out about some shit. Some very old movie that's like, what, almost 40 years old. Like, ooh, like, I will correct it. Is 35 years old about. So like, just in case you were gonna have a heart attack. Anyway. I will talk with you soon, and I hope you have a great day. Also, thank you for liking, subscribing, and commenting. It's very like refreshing when everyone has like a, like just different opinion. Anyway, I'll talk with you soon. All right, have a good one. Bye.